Be excellent to each other.
And party on, dudes.
I'm Steph.
And I'm Ange.
We're
Nerdazons. Believe it or not, that took us 3 tries.
I called myself Ange.
And I'm like, I don't think that makes sense.
Plus, it's not my name.
Exactly. I mean, I'm flattered. I really am.
Shut up. I know my own name, all right? So this is our second episode for the month.
I know. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
We did it. We
did it.
stuck to the fortnight.
Ugh.
I
Let's
was
hope this
worried.
can stay this long.
I hope so.
Same. So this month was, this fortnight actually, was my choice. We're doing I always say this, one of my favorites. However, this is an ultimate classic of mine, Bill and Ted.
I agree.
Not even versus. It's Bill and Ted, the originals versus the 2020.
So it's more if we're comparing the delayed sequel.
Mm-hmm.
So there was 19 years since the second film delayed.
92.
So it was 91, the
yeah.
second one. So 89
91.
for the first one, 89, 91, and then 2020. So it's about 19 years for this sequel. Did
Yeah.
I do the math right?
See, yeah, you did. You did.
No, I was born in 91.
Were you? Oh, little baby.
And it's 2020 and I'm not 19 years old. Maths is not my strongest point.
Neither.
I'm more into the creative arts.
Yeah.
And that has been proven. So this has been 29 years.
Oh my God, 29. Oh my God. Yeah, no, it's blowing my mind.
Did I do the math
Yeah,
right
I
that
think you
time?
did.
Now I'm doubting myself.
91 to 2001.
So if I was born 91, yeah, 2020 I'm 29.
Yep, so
Yeah,
you'd be
okay.
30 next year, so
Yep.
then that would 20.
30
yeah,
this year. Oh my God. Because it's 2021 that we're actually recording. Wink, wink.
Oh my God.
Oh my
I'm
God.
going to be middle-aged this year.
I'm officially in my 30s this year.
I'm going to be middle-aged.
Please don't stop listening to us.
Well, I found out
older now.
the other day. I was talking to my friend saying how I've got this podcast, and then I'm like, why can't you find it? He's like, I can't find you on YouTube. I'm like, that's because we're not on YouTube. We're on
podcast
Spotify.
streaming
like-
sites.
And he's like, ugh, only like the older people use
Oh, God.
Spotify. Young people now use YouTube. I'm like, oh. And apparently I'm old because I still use Facebook.
I only use it to keep in touch with family, really.
I use it because I'm on a whole bunch of groups.
Yeah, I'm on that if I want to like look through some memes.
I'm on like all of the Simpsons Facebook groups. I'm in one, let's all pretend we're baby boomers, which is the best. They put, God bless Henry, call mum. And just stuff like that is really funny.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it's all
Okay.
about the TikToks nowadays. Not on the TikToks.
Same. Well, I'm not on. I don't even use Snapchat or anything.
I love Snapchat.
Okay, we're really off topic.
Okay,
Back to Bill
so-
and Ted.
The original Bill and Ted.
1989. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Also, excuse me, when was Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure a cartoon? That's awesome. How did I not know this?
I didn't know it was a cartoon.
Okay, so in case you've been living under a rock and you're not sure, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter are just charming, goofy, silly enough to make this fluffy time travel adventure work. First of all, the synopsis. 2 seemingly dumb teens set off a quest to prepare for the ultimate historical presentation with the help of a time machine. I freaking love
Me too.
this movie.
Me too.
Hello, Alex Winter in a crop top. Like, can you please, like, bring back crop tops on boys?
I think
Yeah.
it was awesome. Like, I just think the fashion was so different, especially like 80s, 90s rock fashion.
Yep.
It just, I mean, parts of it are still around though, especially the denim and the baggy denims or, well, some baggy denims. Some people go skinny jeans now, but off topic. But no, I really, really like this film. I feel like when you watch it, you either watch it later on in age when you've heard of it but you've never watched it, or you watched it growing up. And I was also one of those that watched it growing up, and it's just super nostalgic. And especially if you grew up in 80s or 90s, and just to see all the references to those decades. Like, I feel like kids now wouldn't really understand a lot of those references. It's the same for the first one and the second one.
I just like that this movie doesn't try to be anything it's not.
Correct. And like, I think Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter, they paired really really well together. They knew how to bounce off each other, and especially considering they weren't really known. I think maybe Alex Winter's had a few movies under his belt at that time. I think Lost Boys with Kiefer Sutherland came out before or after.
Lost Boys came out after, I think.
Okay.
All right. I'm just going to read a little bit about the storyline. In the small town of San Dimas, a few miles away from Los Angeles, there are two nearly brain-dead teenage boys going by the names of Bill S. Preston Esquire and Ted Theodore Logan. They have a dream together of starting their own rock band called Wild Stallions. Unfortunately, they are still in high school and on the verge of failing out of their school as well. And if they do not pass their upcoming history report, they will be separated as a result of Ted's father sending him to military school. But what Bill and Ted do not know is that they must stay together to save the future. So a man from the future named Rufus comes to help them pass their report. So both Bill and Ted decide to gather up historical figures which they need for their report. They are hoping this will help them pass their report so that they can stay together. I freaking love George Carlin. I'm so sad to see that he passed on.
Yeah, he was really good in the last movie. I think for this one, we are going to bounce backwards and forwards, but I think it was just really good to see that they did.
His daughter?
No, like when they walked past the phone booth, they had like him coming out in a hologram. It was so good.
Oh yeah,
it was good. But I think the best way to sum this film up is it's hilariously stupid, which is what makes it so good. That they're not over the top stupid, but their dumb looks to each other, their air guitar, you know, just how things, and how things process in their mind is what sells them as two characters. And like I was saying before, they just melded together. You could tell that the on-screen chemistry was really good between them. And it's just so like lighthearted and fun. And I really love when they bring all the characters back later.
Oh, you mean like Fraud and Genghis Khan and Socrates
and
Joan
it's really
of Arc?
cool.
And,
I still think one of the best scenes is when all the historical characters come back and they go through like an American mall or like shopping mall, and just to see the looks on their faces is
like
hilarious. The
Genghis Khan
actors,
going,
they really got that. I think they were really well in character for that one.
This movie is I recently watched it because my friend had never seen any Bill and Ted's, any of the Kevin Smith movies, nothing. I think my friend had literally grown up under a rock. So I was like, dude, before even knowing that Bill and Ted was coming out, I was like, we need to do a Bill and Ted-a-thon. Come on. And my mate, being a historical teacher, found this just so funny when Joan of Arc is about to, be put on fire, and they're like, "No, come with us."
Yeah, or like when you see Napoleon Bonaparte in the water park.
Napoleon at the water park, and then he makes himself sick.
It's such a it's so simple. It's very much like a Mr. Peabody plot, or like any of those old cartoons that you would watch that would have a little timeline plot. It's not over the top timeline that have to make you think, like, especially, the most recent timeline film that we watched was Tenet. It's not complicated.
I haven't seen that.
Oh my God, so good.
Is it really good?
Yeah, it was the first movie I went back to the cinema with.
Oh, I miss the cinemas.
We went to the one opposite, the really classic cinema. It was a bit scary to go back, but oh my God, it was so good in the cinema.
Really?
Yeah.
Was there many people there?
No, there wasn't. Everyone kept their distance, which was good. But back to the topic, I think it works because it's a simple time travel story. And then it has really fun historical references. Like, you don't need to know the full background of these historical references, like Billy the Kid or Joan of Arc. Like, you don't need to know the full story of them, but their characters worked when they were put in a different timeline.
And then I like the fact, like, going back to where they're not like, oh, I need to be in this timeline so I can fix this timeline so I can do. They're just like, you need to just make sure that you make the best song and you pass your
Yeah,
exam.
we just need to pass. Once we're done, you can
Oh
go
my
back
God.
and get burnt at the stake.
Is it this one where he goes into his dad's? No, that's the second one. I love that one actually.
Oh, really? I actually think this one's better.
I like Death. Death is hilarious.
He is
But I
good.
love when they go into each other's dad's brains, and they, because this is when in the second one where they're ghosts, and they're just like, dude, I totally
Yeah.
I totally ghosted
He's
your
like-
dad. No way.
It is good.
It's just, yeah, absolutely. And I was looking forward to the remake so much. The new one, Face the Music. I had high hopes going into that one.
Really?
Yes, because
Okay.
I wasn't.
Let's sort of like finalize. I've just got one last point on
Oh, no,
this.
we haven't talked about this one enough. Yeah,
I think what makes this one, again, what I think is the biggest selling point is A, it's really lighthearted. B, it's not a very complex storyline. Like C, the on-screen chemistry between the two of them it works so well.
even them and the princesses.
Yeah, like it was just a perfect
Mm-hmm.
blend. And then you've got like witty characters that you're bringing into it, all the different historical figures.
I'm just laughing at like Genghis Khan and like Socrates in the world. In like today is just absolutely hilarious.
So then you've got all those historical figures on top of that. And then, they're just these two guys who are just really into music. They don't care about anything else. They're so dumb, like really dumb. And they're meant to be the future. And I just find that the biggest kick in the teeth,
Yep.
like to comedy, like comedy. It's so funny that you've got these idiots and they're the world's saviors.
I know but there's not much really we can say about this, because if you haven't seen it, go see it. It's just awesome.
It's not a film that you're analyzing on, camera angles. It's not a film that you're analyzing on, the effects that they're using and things like that. It's purely on the script and how the characters executed what they read, and that's all that they needed, and it was just so simple to be done like that.
And, it's kind of stepping forward a bit. I like how they kept the new one hokey.
Yeah, maybe what we should do to better sum this up, let's move on to the next one so we can get to the third one, and we can talk, once we do about that, we can do it about all three of them.
Oh, so we're going into the second one as well?
So Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey was 1991. It was a sequel within two to 3 years.
Yeah.
I actually personally think this one's not the better out of the two. I think the first one was better. I liked the time travel. I liked having the historical figures back in it. Death was hilarious, but I just think you had so many more characters within it.
So briefly, Bogus Journey, a tyrant from the future creates an evil android doubles of Bill and Ted and sends them back to eliminate the originals. I remember growing up watching Bogus Journey, and when they go to hell and that the nana comes down and is like, give us a kiss. I'm like, oh, it like
I
scared
know.
me so much. And like being down there, but Death is...
And you know what? That reference is so... This is gonna be, I know I'm not even in my 30s, but it's a reference that is so lost on the younger generation. That's not scary to them, but to me, I would have thought the same too. It's like, ew, who wants to get like an old lady kiss on your cheek? But
Come
like,
here.
I feel like this one has some references to the 80s and 90s that are lost on like the next generations.
But this one's just... I think I've seen this Bogus Journey more than I have...
Really?
Yeah.
I've seen the other one more.
No, I just was obsessed with these movies growing up. These and
Actually, I think the
Mallrats
reason oh my God, I love Mallrats.
Yeah.
But I think the reason I didn't watch this one as much is because we didn't have this one, but we did have the first one. So I tended to watch that one
Well,
more.
that's right, because back in the day, you couldn't just stream whatever you wanted whenever you wanted. You had to either go to the
Correct.
shop and rent
It's
it
what
or...
VHS you had.
Yeah. And I remember, sorry, talking about VHSs, I remember one day we ordered pizza and it came with a free choice of a movie, of a VHS.
Really?
Yep. And
That's
guess
cool.
which movie I chose?
This one?
Never Been Kissed. I love that movie.
Me too.
I hope that they make a remake of that one day, just so we can do that for an episode.
I don't know if they can, really.
I know, but it's still...
It just wouldn't work.
No, but it's
because
still
like
cute.
what made that work was it was a play on the fact that Hollywood always used a 25-year-old.
Yeah.
to act at high school. Yeah, it just wouldn't work now.
No,
Because
but-
now I think they're consciously aware of that and they try to pick people like 18, 19 as opposed to a 25-year-old.
Or a 26-year-old.
Like Neve Campbell in Scream.
How old was she?
I'm pretty sure she was like mid-20s.
Really?
Well, same with like Jennifer Love Hewitt in I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh,
they
yeah.
weren't teenagers.
No.
Anyway,
they weren't.
off topic.
Sorry,
Back to
we're
this one.
ranting a bit today.
Yeah, this one I feel I didn't like it as much. It's
Mm-hmm.
still good. And I think if you're going to watch them all, you should watch them all.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, I liked the original one. I think it was much more simple. It had all the right characters. It blended well.
Mm-hmm.
This one worked too, but meh to me.
Really?
I mean, it's not meh. I still like it.
Yeah.
But you've got the first one who's up here in like
Yeah.
90s, and then I'd say maybe this one in a tier of 80s. So it's still really
Yeah.
high. It's still a distinction. But I still prefer the first one.
No, I just love these movies, and I had the biggest crush on Alex Winters and also Keanu Reeves.
Oh
Who
my
didn't?
god, young Keanu Reeves. I think every guy even has a crush on Keanu Reeves. There's not a single guy I know that hates him or hates
No.
his movies.
No, to me, he could do no wrong.
No, and
I
he's
don't think
such a
there's
nice
even
person.
been a terrible movie that he's been in. What?
The Lake House.
I freaking love The Lake House.
It's not the best. You're
But
like
it's-
the only person I know that loves it. It's
I-
all right, but it's not the best.
I'm into like mushy.
I know it's so
I know
weird.
it's so
And that's
weird
why
because
so
I'm not
glad
a
you're
lovey
into
mushy
this.
person in real life. I'm just like, don't
'Cause
touch
if
me.
I had like my way of picking
Everyone.
episodes every month, it would be constant like horror or comedies or like, and that's why I like that you're into this because it forces me to have to watch these.
Mhm, same. Like I would not have watched Psycho or last month's episode, which was Fright Night.
I would never have watched Call Me by Your Name. I would never have read the book.
Oh, I still love that movie.
We're really off topic this
I know,
episode.
I know.
Let's quickly move on to the third one so we can talk about it
Okay.
as a trilogy.
Okay. So
This one, as you all know, came out last year in August 2020.
Bill and Ted Face the Music.
Now, I remember when the trailer dropped for this and the internet lost its shit.
Oh my goodness.
Pardon my language.
So,
Once told they'd saved the universe during a time-traveling adventure, two would-be rockers from San Dimas, California, find themselves as middle-aged dads still trying to crank out a hit song and fulfill their destiny.
okay.
Right. Now, okay, I feel like I've got the most to talk about this one
Okay.
because this is the one that was the delayed sequel.
I love the fact that they're at the wedding and that
Oh
he's
my
like,
god, and they did Mongolian throat singing. I immediately thought of you once that happened. I was like, oh, Steph.
because I love the
You're
band called
craze.
The Who, and a band called
And they
The
had
Who.
the like, is it Pheromone?
I think so.
Yeah.
Woo!
I just love
But
how
they're just
whack it was. They were
Does
so
this
out
mean
of
your
touch.
own dad? When he's like, because it was Bill's
Oh,
dad's.
that was a classic point in the first one that I really loved. The whole Missy and like
Yeah.
as his stepmom, and then they just went in that whole loop at the like wedding reception. I'm like, that is disgusting.
No, I know.
Your younger brother is now with him, but like she was with your dad. Oh, ugh.
And does this make me my own brother
And
now?
then when he called her Missy, and she's like, "Don't your father call me that." And that was their wedding day.
I know.
So I really like that they kept that in there because again, back to the very first film, it's just simple and it's just script writing and really you're just talking about going around in circles here. And it was so funny just to hear that.
I know, but just.
This film, I actually, when I saw it, I thought, okay, this could work. I didn't have high hopes for it, but I didn't have low hopes either. As I was watching it, there was only one time that I had a split second where I thought they've lost it.
What was
but then they saved it. And that was at the end when they're like, we're not the ones that need to fulfill the destiny, it's you. And then I turned to my partner and I'm like, that's kind of wrong because they've been talking about Bill and Ted and their song and now you're passing that on. It kind of like stuffs up the whole premise of this being your destiny. But then the way they did it was all together and I really liked it. I'm glad they played the guitar riff because then it was all of their song and that worked really, really well. I think that was a really good message in that one. And their daughters, I think they cast that incredible.
Really?
Yeah, I actually think they blended really well. And Keanu's daughter, she got Keanu's original acting to a T. I actually think she really mimicked his docile look so perfectly. And I think like even the way she moved her head or had her lip just like, as my godmother used to say, is like close your mouth because you'll catch flies. But how she had her mouth just open, like she didn't quite catch it, and then she'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's cool."
Yeah,
and
that's
she
cool,
just
man.
and to me, it really shows that she studied Keanu Reeves' character in the original ones to be able to portray that. And I think she was amazing. I was off a few times with Samara Weaving, but then I think she bounced off well with Billy, but Billy definitely did better.
I don't know. I just feel like those two were just. I know that Bill and Ted are dumb and that they were meant to be dumb, but I feel like these girls were dumb. Like you had princess mothers, right?
Correct.
Your mothers are princesses, so you should have at least maybe not got all of your traits from your fathers. You should have had some traits
Yeah.
from your mother as well.
I agree. I do agree with that. But they are smarter than them.
Yeah.
Because they almost had, I would almost say like an A+ in history for music. Like they knew more than what, like Bill and Ted, they just wanted to have a good rock band, you know? Like, and it was just guitar and that. But these girls knew points throughout history of pivotal musical moments. And they had some intelligence, but yeah, they were
And
docile
I
as
love
well.
that they still had, like, they brought Christian Bell in to replace Rufus as Rufus's daughter.
Oh my God, I love her.
Yeah, but it was just really beautiful that they still kept Rufus alive.
Yeah, when we were talking earlier in the phone booth. Yeah, that was so good. But I do love the new addition of Dennis.
Oh my God, Dennis was
so
hilarious.
funny.
Oh my
Like when he
God.
started to like snap and he's like, "My name is Dennis," and he would tell it to everyone. He's like, "I can dance. Can I sit with you?" And I just lost it. And I turned to my partner, I'm like, "I freaking love Dennis."
And I love how they brought Death back, but they actually explained why he was back down in hell.
Yeah.
Was because the Wild Stallions failed.
And I love that he tried to take the Wild Stallions. Okay. Like, I love the ignorance of him.
And then he's like, why? Like, we had a 45-minute bass
Yeah,
solo,
bass
so why can't
solo.
I have that? Like, it's my band.
I
No,
know.
it's not.
I know. I think the reunion of the characters worked well. Mm-hmm. And I really, really love the idea that they had the same concept of the first one by time traveling. Instead of a history project, it's to unite them all through time, I guess time and space, really, to have an amazing song. And I really like the way they went around about a song that unites the world, is because it's the world playing the song. Even if you can't play, I just really liked that idea. And you didn't need a song.
Yeah, I was a bit like you when I found out, they're going to be the ones who control it. I was like, oh no.
It was
really?
like, I've never had such a gut punch change in my immediate view of a film. Like I was sitting with it pretty well. And then when that came, it was amazing how quickly I was like, I don't like what you've just done here. But then to see them come out and they actually start playing as it records, because then it is Bill and Ted's,
That's
you know,
right.
and I'm like, okay, I kind of like this, they did fulfill their prophecy. But there's one thing I do have to say. How dumb can you be? Right?
what
So
do you mean?
they are at the point in history where it's like, you now need to play this song by tomorrow. And they think, let's go in the future. And it's like, you're at that point in history. If the song hasn't been played, it's not created. And they just keep traveling to find this song that hasn't been created. It's like, obviously, you never created
That's
it.
why it's called a movie and not a documentary.
I know, but like, I just think that if you're into time travel and you get into that, you'll probably look at that more.
Yeah.
Whereas the first one,
Yeah.
I still think this is where I'm going to say it. The first one was the best one.
Absolutely.
Like I said in the beginning, it had the most simple storyline, simple comedy, character blend well, and I think that one worked good. I do have to say one thing, and don't hate me for this. I thought Keanu Reeves was a bit stale in his acting in the third one.
Oh, Hundo P. That's what I was
Yeah.
going to say as well. And
And I love him, but I was just like...
he looks so old. Like, he's not middle-aged.
I know. Well, I mean, he's not. He's
But they
like,
say middle-aged men. Like, they're always saying
Yeah.
middle-aged.
But
But he just looks so old without his goatee and stuff, and I'm just like, ooh. But
But I actually think Alex Winter fell back into his character. Like he actually still seemed like Bill to me. Mm-hmm. But Keanu Reeves, he had the head shake. Like I'm. You can't see because you're listening, but I'm shaking
goodness.
my head. Yeah. But you know how like Ted would be like, I don't know, and he'll like flick
Yep.
his head around. And
Yep.
it was really hair like heavy
Yep.
forward.
Yep.
He did that. But it's almost like he didn't have the muscle movement in his facial expressions. And he was a very like
stiff.
he was stiff. Yeah, like in the original ones, he would be dumb, but then he'd have like a smile of like, "Oh yeah, I get it." You know, like, "Whoa." But in this one, I was talking to my partner about this, and my theory is that quite a lot of stuff happened to Keanu Reeves in his life, as many people know, which is why the world loves him, because he's the most humble person ever. That does change a person, and I don't think a person of that age really experiences that. And it's hard to fall back into that carefree child if you've gone through a lot of that. So, like, I feel like maybe some of that has come out.
Yeah.
But, I did feel like it was a little bit stiff, the performance. But then I feel like, you know, Billy did it so well.
Because she's in, I was wondering where I know her from. She's on a Netflix show called Atypical.
Okay.
It's such a cute little TV show. It's about her and her brother who's autistic and just the life that they have to go through. And he's like high functioning, but he just loves penguins and things, and it's just the cutest thing ever. It's such a beautiful
She was
show.
actually she really surprised me. She stole my gaze in a lot of her scenes. Like I had to watch her. She was just so quirky and different, and I loved it.
Samara Weaving, is she? Oh my God.
She's Australian.
Yeah, but is she?
No, she's not related.
She's
to
not
Hugo.
related
No,
to Hugo
but she's
Weaving.
Australian. She did that.
Bloom?
No, what was that? It was the Ready or Not was her like big American release. So she was on Home and Away, and I think, and then she moved into that one, and it was where she married into some weird cult thingy.
In real life.
No, that's what that movie's about. But yeah.
And she's also
She actually reminds me of Margot Robbie a bit.
I thought she might have been like Hugo Weaving's daughter.
I thought so too, but it's not related.
Oh, but she's also in a show on Stan called Bloom. I'm digressing. I don't care. It's our podcast. To that, I really liked Bloom. Bloom it's an Australian show, and it's about people that are dying and that they take these, or that are older, they take this plant and they eat it and they get young again.
Ooh.
And just things that go on around that. And would you want to be young forever or not?
That sounds interesting.
And it's also got
So it's
Phoebe
like a
Tonkin.
sci-fi thriller, or
Phoebe Tompkins in it. And yeah, no, there's a whole bunch of Aussie people. It's on Stan. Highly recommend that one. But as Bill and Ted both say, the original was most excellent.
Yeah, I'd have to say if I ranked it, I would go 1, 3, 2.
I'd go, yeah. Oh no, I think I'd go 1, 2, 3.
Fair enough.
Yeah, yeah. The first,
I think 1 and 3 flowed together as a story more than having the second one in between. Like I just think the story elements blended better as 1 and 3, and then have like 2 separately. And I think that's why, like my very horrible brain of mathematics calculates it this way. But that's just how I perceive it as being
now
better.
I'm thinking about it, I think I actually watched the second one first and didn't realise that there was a Bill and Ted Excellent Adventure. I think I only remember watching Bogus Journey and then going, there's an Excellent Adventure. So to me, number 2's always been number 1
fair.
for me.
Yeah, and I think it's because you said you watched that one first. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, I freaking just adore these movies. All right, I'm going to ask you.
So each of them, or
I'm going to ask you, what would you rate each? I don't have Rotten Tomatoes up just yet, but I'm going to ask you, how many movie reels do you give each movie?
how many movie reels? I would give the first one a 4 out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
I'd give the second one a 3.5 out of 5, and I'd give the third one a 3.5 out of 5. So they're fairly close. Like, I actually think they're all pretty good. I'd watch all of them again. I wouldn't not watch it. So to me, if each of them was good enough to rewatch, then I'm fine with that.
Same. I think I'm going to give the first one a 4.5 because it's
Actually, I'm going to change to a 4.5. I'm going to change to a 4.5.
copied,
And
you
then
copied my lunch and now you're
You
copying.
copied my lunch, you liar. I sounded so
Yeah.
posh then.
You did, you liar.
No, I'm going to change the first one to a 4.5 because I did say it was done well. You didn't need all that extra stuff to make it work. And then I'll make the other two a 4.
So first one, 4.5. Middle one, I'm going to go 4.6. Last one, I'm going to go a 3.9.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're fairly close in the way we'd rank them. Like,
Alright.
like they're good enough that they're like average and higher. So we'd rewatch them.
Are you going to be going through all 3 movies?
Okay, let's
on
try. Rotten Tomatoes?
Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
give me
So
a
you tell me which one I
second.
start
All right,
with.
number 1.
I love guessing these. Number 1, I'm going to try and guess. Oh, that's really, really good.
So Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
I'm going to go with like 89.
So close. Lower.
Oh, really? 86?
81.
Oh. I thought that would have been like close to 90. I didn't think it would be in the 90s. Okay, so let me think about the second one then. I'm going to say for the second
So
one.
this is Bogus Journey.
I'm going to say the second one gets a 78.
Completely off. It got lower.
Okay,
Like
53.
you are so close again.
Really?
57.
Okay. Wow. Oh, I can see. Okay, let me guess the third one.
Okay.
So the most recent one, I feel like this was a hit and miss for a lot of people. It wasn't as good as like everyone would think. I'm going to go near 83.
Oh my gosh, you were so close again. 82.
Damn, I was off by one.
I know.
Wow. I can see why that is. Because, like, it's hard to explain. Like, you want to rank them up because you would watch them heaps and heaps, but you know they're not worth really high results.
But also it's a very niche.
It is. I think you have to be into that type of humor.
Yeah.
Like, some people have different types of humor, like, be it brain or intelligence humor, potty humor. Yeah. And I think this is just a different, it's like dumb humor. But it was so good.
I'm not a fan of dumb humor, but some dumb humor like this I can get.
Yeah.
But I can't stand things like that. What's that show with the old man and he's dressed as a lady and everyone, Mrs. Brown's Boys? Like, I can't handle that.
I like that. But then again, I watched it when it first came out. And then I think
Yeah.
they like milked it and I haven't watched it since.
But then again, I just found out about Auntie Donna's House of...
Oh, that's the one where I kept seeing where it's like everything's a drum.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been seeing that everywhere online.
It's so dumb.
But okay, do you want to know 2 things that I can't stand?
What's
And
that?
everyone always like says, "How can you not like this?"
If you say like Star Wars, obviously you
Oh my
don't.
God,
But
no, 2 things that I cannot find funny at all is fat pizza and Halzo's. I don't find it funny at all, and I think it's because I see people like that. It's
I
just
thought
like,
you were going
eh.
to say fat people eating pizza.
No,
and
but-
I'm like, I like pizza.
But I'm gonna kind of give a little nerdy notable here.
Do you want to just move on to it? Sorry.
Nerdazon's nerdy notables. Okay, I have to. This is my notable.
Okay.
So my best friend, I'm gonna freaking tell the world about this. But she just filmed season 3 of Fat Pizza. Now I don't like Fat Pizza. Oh, I don't like Halzo's, but I will watch it for her because that's her first big break. So I'm so excited. You know my friend that's a comedian, Macadonka Stoilova.
Macadonna.
Her name is Donna for short, but her actual name is Macadonka
Macadonka, not Macadonna.
Stoilova. So she's Macedonian. She's a great comedian.
Yeah,
You can
we went and
search
saw her at the
Yeah,
Sydney Comedy
we
Festival.
did. And so she just did her first big like
That's awesome.
acting gig, and it
I'm
was
totally going to look at
on
that.
Halzo. So it comes out this year. I don't know when. I'm assuming Mayish.
Maybe we should post something about it.
Oh, we definitely will.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm not a big fan of that series, but I will watch it for her. Like even last night, my partner was watching one of the old ones, and I could just hear these stupid.
I can't handle racism, sexism, or homophobia. Like when they make jokes about that, nah.
So actually, it's really funny. So you know how I told you I binged all of Midsummer, and everyone's like, "Oh, who's your favorite, sidekick?" And like the very first sidekick, and this is like early 90s when I was born. Like that's how old this series goes. And yeah, the first guy was a homophobe, and I just couldn't take to the guy because they'd always like. But I know it was a different time of screen, and you could kind of get away with that stuff. But I just hated that, and I'm like, I just can't take to you. But I think it's because I'm watching it in 2020. You know, like of course it didn't age well, but the crime itself did. But him as a character didn't. And thankfully, he left after like 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah, good. And one comedian I cannot stand more than anything, Will Anderson.
I don't think I've ever really listened.
Will Anderson swears for the sake of swearing in his comedy, and like I'm all for swearing.
Yeah, like
I'm
like look at Rodney Rude, right?
Yeah.
Like he did it. It worked in his sets because he had image branded himself as that, so that's why it worked.
Yeah, but when you're just like making swearing or whatever for the sake of it, but speaking back to like dumb humor, oh my gosh, you need to watch Auntie Donna's if you're in like. So there's a scene where they go back and they're talking about when basketball first started. They're filming it like black and white, and they're running around, and they're like, oh no, they lost the game. Looks like Timmy's got to go have a round of at the war. And then they're like, oh, Timmy's come back from the war. He's got shell shock. The first thing, the only way we can fix that is by sending him back to war.
Oh my God.
Like, it's so dumb.
Oh my God.
And everything's a drum. Everything's a drum.
Yeah, that was. I just remember
You can even drum on my bum.
that just like blew up on the internet, that song. And then when the guy like went to drum something, and he's like, you lied to me. My whole life is a lie.
Yeah, he's like, I left my wife for you. And then he's like, oh no, wait, here
Everything
we go.
is a joke. Yeah, and then I know. Maybe I should check it out. Okay, that's my your recommendation for me.
He's like, I like to drink the brown stuff in the morning. Do you mean coffee? Brown stuff in the morning.
Yeah. Okay, that's my. You've given me a good recommendation. I'm gonna check it out.
Oh,
But yeah,
yeah.
my notable is just pretty much watch out for season 3 of Fat Pizza. Check out my friend. If you follow me on Instagram, I'm Angpang3, ANGPANG3, and you'll see within my following list, Macadonka Stoylova. She's a great comedian, and I can't wait for the world to see her.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so do you want to tell everyone what we're doing next fortnight?
Okay, let me bring that list back up. Okay, so it's my choice, and I know we are eagerly waiting for The Death on the Nile to come out, but Steph did tell me she didn't realize that Murder on the Orient Express had been remade with Kenneth Branagh, and I really want you to watch that because, man, his eyes in that, I was captivated.
Really?
Oh my God, when I watched it on the big screen, it's just these big crystal blue eyes, and I'm just like, just keep talking. I'll just look into your eyes.
Talk about sweet nothing.
Yeah.
And then
Just to clarify, we're doing the original movie. So the original film came out in 1974, Murder on the Orient Express, with Albert Finney. And then we're going to do Murder on the Orient Express with Kenneth Branagh in 2017.
Are we going to tell them what we're doing for the entire month, or are we going to leave them hanging after that? So then they need to listen. They need to listen to.
I think we should tell them. It gives you time to watch all 4 movies, I guess.
And then my choice for the month is going to be The Craft,
which I freaking love the original. And as soon as I saw that trailer, I think I yelled at my phone in my apartment. And I don't get very like actual literal vocal, but that one made me so upset when I saw it. I just remember like I wanted to slam my phone on my couch. That's how aggressive and passionate I got. I'm like, why do you need to remake it when the first was so freaking good? Anyway, let's leave that for the podcast.
Yes. Okay. So remember, you can follow us on Instagram or Facebook or even Twitter. I don't really post very much on Twitter. Shh. And you can send us an email at nerdazons@outlook.com and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, wherever
Spotify,
you get.
Or wherever you listen to your radio.
And until then.
That's bye for now.
And just remember, be excellent to each other.